Hi, welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Laurel. I'm Laurel, and this is part 2 in the series of videos on logarithms. In this video, we're going to talk about the properties of logarithms. And before we start with logs, I'd like to just review the laws of exponents, because as we learned in the last video, a logarithm is an exponent. So first three rules that we talked about in the video on laws of exponents were these three. If we have a power times another power and the base is the same, we can combine those by adding the exponents. So b to the m times b to the n will equal to b to the m plus n. Similarly, if we have a quotient of powers and we have the same base, b, we can simplify or combine those powers by subtracting our exponents. So b to the m divided by b to the n will equal b to the m minus n. And the third law that we talked about is if we had a power raised to another power, b to the m, then raised to the n, we take a product of our exponents, so that's going to be b to the m times n. So our first three properties of logarithms are going to be very similar to these. So I'm going to start with the log of a product. That's going to be equal to the log of the one factor p plus the log of the other factor q. So I'm not going to do a proof of this property, but I am going to just show an example with logarithms base 10 to show that this works. So for example, if we had the log of 10 times 100 base 10, this property says that that would be equivalent to the log of 10 base 10 plus the log of 100 base 10. So understanding what logs mean, we should be able to calculate these values. I'm just going to simplify this first. 10 times 100 is 1,000. So remember, when we're dealing with logarithms, the log of a quantity is the exponent to which the base must be raised to equal this quantity. So if I'm asking for the log of 10 base 10, I'm saying what must 10 be raised to equal 10? The answer is 1. So the log of 10 base 10 is 1. Similarly, if I was asked what's the log of 100 base 10, I'm asking what must 10 be raised to equal the quantity of 100? So the log of 100 base 10 would be 2. The log of 1,000 base 10, I'm saying, if I'm finding the log of 1,000 base 10, I'm asking what must 10 be raised to equal 1,000, and that would be 3. So you can see the property does work out. It's not a proof, it's just an illustration of that property. The second property is very similar to the second law of exponents. If you have the log of a quotient, this will be equal to the log of the numerator minus the log of the denominator. And notice I keep the base the same all the time. Again, I'm not going to do a proof, but I will illustrate this with an example. If we had, let's say, 10,000 divided by 100, base 10, according to this property, this should be equal to the log of 10,000 minus the log of 100. So let's evaluate both sides. First of all, we will calculate 100,000 divided by 100 is 100. We want to evaluate the log of 10,000 base 10. So what exponent must 10 be raised to equal 10,000? The answer would be 4. Similarly, the log of 100 base 10, 10 must be raised to the power of 2. So the log of 100 base 10 would be 2. Log of 100 base 10 we just discussed was 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. So it just shows you that the property does work. Third property is similar to the third law of exponents. We have q to the raised to the some power of n. This can be expressed as n times the log of q. Let's take a look at an example using powers of 10 to see that this does work. So if we had the log of 100 cubed, base 10, according to this property, this should be equal to 3 times the log of 100, base 10. So 100 cubed, if we cube 100, we're going to get 1 million. And the log of 100 base 10 we've already discussed is equal to 2. The log of a million base 10, well 10 must be raised to the power of 6 to equal 1 million. So we know that's 6. So we can see that that property is going to work. These next three properties are ones that don't necessarily need to be memorized. If you understand logarithms, you will be able to look at these and understand what the results should be without memorizing. But if you need to memorize them, then that's okay too. But if we take a look at the first one, when we're asked to find the log of a quantity, we're looking for the exponent to which the base must be raised to equal this quantity. So what must b be raised to equal 1? 0. So the log of 1 base b is 0. Similarly, if I said, what's the log of b, base b, I'm saying, what must my base b be raised to equal this? Well, b must be raised to the power of 1. So the log of b, base b, is simply 1. And my sixth property gives me what the log of b to the n is. But again, if we understand what logarithms are, I'm saying, what must my base b be raised to equal b to the n? The answer will be n. So given these properties, there's a variety of exercises you'll be asked to do. The next type of question you might encounter is something like this, where they're asking you to express the following as the logarithm of a single quantity. So we'll kind of be going backwards with our properties of logs. For example, if I have the sum of log terms and the base is the same, I can use my first property to express this as the log of 4 times 2, base 5. Okay, so I learned the property that going in this direction, that this was equal to this, but I can reverse the direction. And then I can simplify it so that this would be the log of 8, base 5. I do the same thing with the second example, but this is subtraction, so I would use my second property to simplify this or combine the log terms to be 8 divided by 4. The bases have to be the same for the properties to work. And then again, I can simplify this. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So I could combine these and simplify to just the log of 2 base 5. The third example, we have coefficients. So we're going to use our third property to deal with those. So this will be equal to the log of 4 squared. Again, I'm going in reverse of property number 3. I do the same thing with this term. So that's going to be x cubed. Now that I don't have coefficients, now I can use my second property of logarithms to combine these two. So it will be the log of 4 squared, which is 16, divided by x cubed, base 5. So that's how I could combine those as instructed. So the other type of question that you could be asked is to determine the exact value of each of these logarithms. So you might find that you can do it without using the properties, or you might find the properties help you. So you'll get the same result whatever way you look at it. You could write that 81 as 9 squared. Then you could use your third property of logs to write that as 2 times the log of 9. And again, you can break down the 9 if you want, or if you know what the log of 9 base 3 is at this point, you could plug that in. So you can use your properties as much or as little as you want. I think most of you can see that the log of 9 base 3 would be 2. 3 must be raised to the power of 2 to equal 9. So the exact value of that is 4. If you knew that 3 raised to the 4th power equals 81 right from the beginning, you can avoid using those properties and doing those steps. The next example, you might want to write that instead of working with 1 over 81, you might want to express that as 81 to the negative 1. We can pull that negative 1 coefficient or exponent out front as a coefficient, so that will be negative log of 81 base 3. And then we already know that the log of 81 is 4. We have a negative 1 coefficient, so we would get negative 4 as a result. The last one, we could write this as, it asks us to find the log of the 4th root of 81 base 3. So we could write 81, 4th root of 81 as 81 to the power of 1/4. Then we can use our third property of logs to say that that's equal to the log of 81. We already know that the log of 81 base 3 is 4. So my answer is 1. I could have also found the 4th root of 81 to begin with. So as long as you're using your properties correctly, you should end up with the same result. The other type of questions that I've seen textbooks ask is to express these values as a sum, difference, or product of logarithms where part of the logarithm may be determined exactly. So you use your properties to break up the value, the quantity, so that you can find or calculate part of it exactly. So in our first example, if we were to ask to find the log of 30 base 3, we look at what our base is. We know that there's a multiple of 3 in 30, so we can write 30 as 3 times 10. Then we can use our first property of logarithms to break this up. That will be the log of 3 plus the log of 10. And we can calculate what the log of 3 is. You can either use your property that I mentioned or think about what must 3 be raised to equal 3. The answer is 1. So it will be 1 plus the log of 10. So that's what they're looking for if you see questions like that. The next example, same idea. Our base is 10, so how could we write 4,000 as a product or a power or a quotient where we have powers of 10 in there? We could write it as 4 times 1,000. So that will be the log of 4 plus the log of 1,000. The log of 4 base 10, we're just going to simply leave it as log of 4 base 10. And then the log of 1,000 base 10, we can, what must 10 be raised to equal 1,000? The answer is 3. And I kind of prefer to write this as 3 plus the log of 4. Otherwise, people might be tempted to add the 4 plus 3. So we want to avoid any kind of confusion there. So that's how I'd express my answers. So you might see questions like this, and that's how you would handle them. This concludes properties of logarithms. We will be using them in future videos. Make sure you understand them. I see students get very creative with these properties and make up their own properties, so you have to be very careful that you understand them and you don't change them. Once you're comfortable with the properties, feel free then to move on to the next video on logarithms. Take care and see you then.